Alright, welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 3 of the push for relevancy here in Coastal Zone Championship Wrestling. And first things first I want to talk about is I forgot to show you guys the owner goals, or at least I'm pretty sure I forgot. And this owner goal came in after I had started the save and I had titled the series. So I already wanted a goal to be get the company to at least minimum size. And my headcanon was like, Cliff Anderson hires Sean McFly to do that. And quite literally, it is in the game. So I thought that was really fucking funny. The other two do not really matter. Like, very few wrestlers I already want to bring in. So if they don't hit this, then it's like I don't need them anyway. So I'm not worried about these two smaller goals. I'm only worried about that top one, where we are, you know, we're decently away, but we got a good bit of time to do it. So yeah, like I said at the end of the last episode, this episode will actually be 3 episodes of Coast to Coast because, I want the episode formats to be every recording block. That's the video you guys get. So this one's going to be slightly longer since we only have 3 weeks until Vendetta. I don't want to pay the money to split it into 2 and then 1. So we're booking all 3 shows tonight. So, yeah. For the first episode of Coast to Coast in this video, we have, I thought I spoiled something. I remembered that's not a spoiler. I scared the shit out of myself. So all we've got right now is main eventing. This first edition of Coast to Coast will be the winner takes on Frankie Boy Fernandez match at Vendetta between American Flash and Mass Cougar, who were sort of getting along, sort of not getting along, and they've agreed to fight for the right to challenge Frankie Boy Fernandez. So without further ado, let's get into the first edition, the third ever CZCW Coast to Coast. Okay, kicking this episode off, we've got our first Coast to Coast. Like I said, this is really all that's pre-booked. We do have some storylines, but without spoiling what's happening on the show, I don't really want to get into them. I'll explain them again once we get through the angles. So, you know, let's just get right into Coast to Coast number 3. We kick things off with a 55 rated match. The Big Gamble creative finish was a success, but the match was too short for an important match. I forgot about that. This could have went really bad if that Big Gamble did not pay off. However, we kick things off with the greatest wrestler of the roster, Frankie Boy Fernandez, pulling out another masterclass out of his ass and defeating Fox Mask 2 in 12:33 with a dirt nap. This was our Steal the Show match. I forgot to check. We will not be penalized, and it's going 95 minutes. So I forgot to double check if I put the times right for everything. So after his match with Fox Mask, Frankie Boy Fernandez just cuts a quick promo. Like, really all he says is, I don't care if I have to face Mask Cougar again. I don't care if I have to face American Flash. Whoever I'm facing at Vendetta is not winning. It does not matter to me. Whoever I'm facing at Vendetta will fucking lose. That's pretty much all he says. He is not concerned in the slightest. Up next, we have a promo by Zell Quinn. He's backstage, and he's trying to make a pitch for the Extreme Championship. He's like, Luis Montero Jr. fell last week. I won a match last week. I'm next in line. He doesn't really get very far in his very flawed attempt to politic into the Extreme Championship, as his promo backstage is cut off by Luis Montero Jr., who chases him off. Because of the reason Luis Montero Jr. lost that Extreme Championship match was because Zell Quinn ran in for some reason. So yeah, Luis Montero Jr. chasing Zell Quinn off and presumably out of the arena because we will not see him again. Up next is a tag team match between Gangster Nation and Thunderstruck, two of our established tag teams here. Gangster Nation laid out the Wildcats during last week's show, so they are here getting a victory over Thunderstruck, with Ellie DeGrazia getting an insanely good performance. Holy fuck, okay, calm down. You're not over yet. Wait up. But after the match, they explain why they laid out the Wildcats, and it's just as simple as 2022 was supposed to be the year of Gangster Nation. This was supposed to be their year. They were supposed to take over the tag team division and then maybe even the singles division for each of them. However, first show of 2022, they lost to a bunch of masked losers. And they were not happy. So they want to get back on the right track by taking on the Wildcats in a 2v2 at the pay-per-view. And they say they beat up the Wildcats so bad that they're not going to be able to make this taping. So they expect an answer on next week's show. I don't know why I said the word taping, because they are on the taping. They're not on the episode. So ignore that I said the word taping. But they got beat up so bad that they can't make this episode, but they'll be on the next one. So, 50 rated promo. American Patriot showed up backstage and wanted to work, so I said, fuck yeah, you're jobbing to Heartbreaker. In 7 minutes and 51 seconds, Heartbreaker defeats American Patriot with an idolizer. Match got a 47. Heartbreaker's not the greatest, but he's really fun to write for, because after the match, he once again professes his love for Sky Hermosa. He says that no other woman in the world lights a fire under his heart like that woman, and he wants to spend the rest of the day, and then the rest of the week, and then the rest of the month, and the rest of the year, and the rest of his life with her. And he invites her out to the ring so they can share a beautiful moment, and he waits for her. And he waits for her. And she doesn't come out, and he says, I don't think she's watching the show, guys. I'll come back next episode with her. I promise. There were some misunderstandings. I came on a little strong with her and her tag partner, but I think if I truly get through to her, she'll understand. So I'll be back next time, I promise, with her. 42 for Heartbreaker. Semi-main, we've got Juliette Balconi, who was supposed to be on the last episode, but she did not return from her absence soon enough. So here she is, losing to Carlos Barrera in 10 minutes and 7 seconds after he hits the Curb Your Enthusiasm. Match gets a 60, really good match from Carlos Barrera. And before Carlos can leave, he is confronted by Luis Montero Jr., who is convinced that Carlos colluded with Zell Quinn to cost him the Extreme Championship match. And he wants a rematch without any collusion. He doesn't, without having to worry about Zell Quinn or anybody that he needs to bail out, that Carlos needs to bail himself out of a match with. And Carlos straight up tells him, he's like, dude, first off, I don't know why you'd think I'd ever work with Zell Quinn, let alone needing him to beat you, but I didn't. So you're not getting a world title match because you have issues of your own that you can't deal with. So yeah, you gotta, if you want to stop Zell Quinn from fucking with you, you gotta do that, because I got nothing to do with it. But yeah, 40 rated segment. Luis Montero Jr. is not really buying this, but did Carlos Barrera actually hire Zell Quinn? I don't know. Carlos seems like a tough guy. But before our main event, we get a surprise appearance by the leader of the Dark Watch, Deacon Darkhold, who essentially just comes out to talk shit. That's all he's here to do. He's like, I'm going to beat Frankie Perez. I'm going to take his COT World title. I'll feed him to my goats when I'm done with him. And eventually Johnny Perez comes out. He's stepping up for his older brother. He's like, look, I don't care what you think you're going to do to my brother, but I'm not going to let you run your mouth here on our show without doing something about it. All right? So if you want to take on Frankie Perez, you want to talk all this shit, then talk all that shit. But you're going to have to eat your words next week, because I got Sean McFly to approve a singles match between the two of us on Coast to Coast next week. 45 rated angle. We have Deacon Darkhold in a Coast to Coast match against Johnny Perez on the next episode of Coast to Coast, number 4. 45, and it's time for the main event. And in a match that goes 19 minutes and 41 seconds, Masked Cougar gets a fucking 70. Really good performance by him. However, American Flash is the one who is successful tonight as he defeats Masked Cougar, hitting the high velocity senton, getting the victory. 77 rated main event. Really fucking good shit from both these men. I was not expecting a 77. But, so American Flash will go to CZCW Vendetta to challenge Frankie Boy Fernandez for the CZCW Championship, the Coastal Zone Championship, in the main event. Pre-booked that, and then we have a quick face-to-face between the two. Nothing's really going on here, just Frankie Boy standing his ground, holding his title up, American Flash being like, I'm going to take it. Just a standard WWE-style face-to-face to end the show. And the show gets a 66. Really good taping to kick off this episode. Unfortunately, as I was booking this episode, I realized I did not really proofread Coast to Coast episode number 2, and the main events might be a little lackluster. So hopefully, the creative finishes I have stored up can bail me the fuck out. Otherwise, we might be in for a little bit of a rough one right now. Alright, we're here for the second of 3 shows in this taping. And we kind of got a bit of a lackluster main event here. Johnny Perez versus Deacon Darkhold is not main eventing. It's opening the show because I have an angle going on after it that I kind of need to happen at the beginning of the show. So, main eventing tonight's episode will be Simon Waves and Miguel Rivera. So, you know what, actually? No, I'm pivoting. I don't have the balls. Zelquin and Huday-Ask are main eventing. I've pivoted. We'll end with the mental gymnastics. You'll see what I mean in a second. Slightly overused is fine. We won't be penalized. Start the show. So we kick things off. Kind of a fun match. Deacon Darkhold was really off his game, and Johnny Perez was off his game. So nobody really had that great of a performance. So maybe this shouldn't have main evented. It was good enough to get the show off to a strong start, but in an outcome that surprised probably nobody, Deacon Darkhold defeats Johnny Perez in 14:35 with a reverse DDT. The overall match got a 46, but Deacon Darkhold is not done. He does not take, much like the Wildcats, I haven't read that angle yet, never mind. He does not take disrespect from anybody, especially not somebody like Johnny Perez. So after hitting the reverse DDT, the Scorpion Death Drop, he then drags Johnny Perez to the ropes, gets his arm stuck in the rope, grabs a black baseball bat, and just fucking home run swings right on his elbow, trying to break his arm. Frankie Perez, he rushes to the ring as fast as he can, but he's too late. The damage is already done. Johnny Perez is seething in pain, rolling around. He can't handle it. Deacon Darkhold has just sent a message to Frankie Perez by taking out his brother, and now Frankie is kind of all alone because Johnny Perez was the only person that really stepped up to be like, hey, I'm with you, bro. We'll take on the Dark Watch. Make sure you're not outnumbered. And now Frankie Perez's only help going into the COT World Championship match has been taken out, apparently. Looks like a broken arm to me. Up next, we have Sky Hermosa defeating Swipe Romero in 8:25 with the Sky Twister press. Good match from both people here. Swipe got a 48, Sky got a 49. It's a very bad month, however. Very bad month to be Sky Hermosa, as she can't really show her face without being interrupted or confronted by Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker comes out again. He's like, Sky, I'm not here to fight, but I know you're jumpy, and that's okay. That's a great quirk that I still love about you. So I'm gonna stay here. He doesn't go to the ring. He stays on the ramp. He's like, I'm gonna stand back, and I'm gonna explain to you. Look. I haven't done anything to win you over yet. That's what I've realized. I've come on a little too strong. However, next week's episode of Coast to Coast will be on Valentine's Day, and I've got quite the present I cannot wait to show you, Sky Hermosa. And Sky Hermosa groans, and the whole crowd's like, oh, what the fuck? Coastal Zone is getting romantical on the next episode. I'm going to pre-book that angle now. I'm not going to say anything. So, Heartbreaker, Valentine's Day present. So I'll just do this real quick. Heartbreaker on working the crowd. Sky Hermosa on working the crowd. Storyline development, I guess. We'll do 4 minutes scripted. So yeah, we're pre-booking the Valentine's Day surprise by Heartbreaker. So yeah, bad month to be Sky Hermosa, and it's about to get worse in February. So 45 rated angle. Up next, we have Altitude versus Masked Cougar. Masked Cougar, in spite of the penalty for the match being too short, gets a 63. The overall match got a 54, which I am fine with. It is a mid-card match. So Masked Cougar defeats Altitude in 5:56 with the high-rise Cougar Pounce. And after the match, he cuts this promo where he's like, look, you know, that's 2 setbacks back-to-back. I lose the world title match at Revolution. I lose the number 1 contenders match last week. But you know what? I don't care that I'm getting up there in age. I don't care that is he 40 or is he almost 40? I gotta check now. I gotta check. I don't care that I'm almost 40. I'm the face of this company. I've been the face of this company alongside Fox Mask for the past damn near 20 years. Alright? I've still got more left in the tank. I've still got more to give to CZCW. And his promo's interrupted by one half a Going Coastal California Love Machine. And he says, look, Mask Cougar, that's great. I love to hear it. I'm so happy to hear that you have more left in the tank because, I'm still not happy about the way the first ever episode of Coast to Coast went. Frankie Boy Fernandez can get over things a lot easier than I do, alright? Because, well, you know what? Frankie Boy, he wasn't the one pinned in that match, was he? Yeah, Going Coastal lost their big return match to you and American Flash, but I was the one pinned by you. Now, if you think you got a lot more left in the tank, and I quite frankly disagree, but if you think you have a lot more left in the tank, then how about we both get what we want at the pay-per-view? You don't have a world title match. I don't have a match. I want to get revenge on you for making a fool out of me and our team at the first ever Coast to Coast. So how about we take on each other in a singles match at Vendetta? And Mask Cougar says, you know what? That's exactly what I'm looking for. A chance to reprove myself. So both men, as Tyler Breeze and Xavier Woods would say, are holding a prove yourself match at the pay-per-view. California Love Machine, Mask Cougar, one-on-one at Vendetta. Book it. 58 for that angle. Up next, we have the Wildcats versus Tony Day Wonderful and Onslaught. Match goes 8 minutes and 26 seconds. Tigre Salvaje Jr. gets the pinfall victory for the Wildcats after he hits Onslaught with the Salvaje suplex. Tigre Salvaje had a really good performance here. You'll love to see it. But this was what I was referencing when I talked about the Deacon Darkhold segment, as much like Deacon Darkhold, the Wildcats do not take disrespect from anybody. And that's exactly what they say. They don't take disrespect from anyone, especially not punks and cowards like Gangster Nation. So if they want to take us on at the pay-per-view, then you know what? You're on, Gangster Nation. You're on. Pay-per-view tag team match. Gangster Nation versus the Wildcats. This will be a very fun one. That's all I'll say. I think this would be a very fun match. Even though I've never seen any of them wrestle, I think it'll be a fun one. Alright. Up next, we have a message from Frankie Perez, and he says, look, my brother, he went straight to the hospital. He told me not to worry about him. He told me to stay back, to make sure that the Dark Watch don't do shit like that to anybody else on this card. And you know what? I listened to him. If my brother doesn't want help, that's fine. But he offered me help. And so did these two men. And out come the current tag team champions, the Beach Boys, Simon Waves and Chet Chavez. Deacon Darkhold, you might have taken away my only help in our feud against each other. But immediately after seeing what you did, the heart and soul of the Coastal Zone Tag Team Division came up right to me and said, if that's what he's going to do, then we're going to step up and make sure that that guy doesn't do anything like that to anyone else. So yeah, you took out my only hope, but you gave me back help in double. So good luck. And then Simon Waves, he goes out for his match because this was supposed to be the main event, but now it's not. Simon Waves goes out for his non-main event match against Miguel Rivera. It goes 13 minutes and 31 seconds. Simon Waves beats him via submission. Match got a 52. Simon Waves and Willow have really good chemistry. That's nice to see. And, after the match, Chet Chavez and Simon Waves, they're in the ring, posing to the crowd, when all of a sudden, the Dark Watch, the Night Terrors, the other two members of the Dark Watch, come out and they jump Chet Chavez and Simon Waves. And one of them grabs a microphone, it doesn't really matter who, and they're essentially like, no, if you want to do a 3v3, then let's do a 3v3. Alright? Us and Deacon Darkhold versus you and Frankie next week. Warm-up match for Deacon Darkhold. That's what the master has asked for. So yeah, 3v3 next week. Big match, the Dark Watch versus Frankie Perez and the Beach Boys. And before the Night Terrors can leave the ring, they take a look at those CZCW tag team titles. And everybody notices them look right at them before they leave. 34 rated angle. And our main event, Zell Quinn versus Hugh Day Ass, gets a 55. I wish I had moved the creative finish from the previous match to this one. Oh well, it still did better. It's fine. Not a great main event, but it overachieved for what I was expecting. But yeah, in a bout that goes 12 minutes and 48 seconds, Zell Quinn defeats Hugh Day Ass in 12:48 with the magic trick via submission. Yeah, match got a 55. Both men did pretty good. And then we closed the show with Zell Quinn. We closed the show with Zell Quinn. He says, look, all right, fine, I'll admit it. I don't want to drag Carlos into this. I'm not scared of him. He might beat me up, but I'm not scared of that. I acted on my own, all right? I personally felt that Luis Montero Jr. did not earn an Extreme Championship match, all right? I felt like my wins were more impressive, but it is what it is. What's done is done. He lost his match. It's fine. However, I think by, using the MMA logic, Luis Montero Jr. defeats Hugh Day Ask. He gets a title match. I have just defeated Hugh Day Ask. I believe I get a title match. Both Carlos and Luis come out, and they're both like, you are a fucking idiot. They're both protesting this. They are not having it. Eventually, Zell Quinn, calls Luis's mom fat or something. He does some really lame joke, and Luis is like, man, shut the fuck up. And he goes for a right hand. Zell Quinn ducks. He clocks Carlos. Zell Quinn then takes Luis Montero Jr. down, and Luis is then getting jumped by both Carlos Barea and Zell Quinn. Eventually, Hugh Day Ask, he comes out, and he makes the save. He saves Luis Montero Jr. It's an even 2-on-2 fight, and as we kind of go off the air in chaos, Cliff Anderson on commentary announces, made official for next week, we have a 2v2 between Carlos Barea and Zell Quinn versus Hugh Day Ask and Luis Montero Jr. So Zell Quinn, Carlos Barea. Alright, 2v2. Kind of a convoluted angle there, but it did its job. Not really. It got a 38. But we finished the show. Show got a 53. As long as we get higher than 50s, I'm more than fine with that. Show was alright. This is kind of going to be one of our weaker coast to coasts. This one's on me. I should have looked at what I had in the main event before I advanced, but shit slips through the cracks sometimes. So hopefully we have a pretty stacked card for next show. We already have 3 matches pre-booked. We have 2 matches and a segment pre-booked. So, we got some good stuff going into coast to coast number 5. All right, final show of this episode here tonight. We got a pretty big card. I don't have it pre-booked, but we do have a massive 4v4 main event. The masked men of American Flash, Masked Cougar, and the Wildcats will team up to take on Going Coastal and Gangster Nation. In the matches I did pre-book, we have the clusterfuck tag team match that is Hugh Day Ask, Luis Montero Jr. versus Zell Quinn and Carlos Barea. And then, of course, we have the 3v3 between the Dark Watch versus the Beach Boys and Frankie Perez. But the real main event is Heartbreaker has promised to give Sky Hermosa a Valentine's Day present that, quote, will make her fall in love with him. So we'll see how that goes for him. But we kick things off with the clusterfuck tag match. So as I was booking this episode, I realized that since in the taping, the last thing that was shown was the brawl between Hugh Day Ask, Luis, Zell, and Carlos. I like to think that a couple refs pulled them apart, only for the Guru to be like, no, Sean McFly wants them to have a tag match right now. So that's what happened for the live crowd, but for the TV crowd, obviously the Guru just on commentary said this match will happen next week. So, a little fun Easter egg, I guess, in the lore. But yeah, the match goes 13 minutes and 50 seconds when Luis Montero Jr. gets a quick cradle on Carlos Barrera, pinning the current Extreme Champion. Just to note, Zell Quinn and Carlos Barrera were constantly fucking fighting during this entire match. They were one of the least well-oiled machines. They were bone dry. They were a bone-dried machine during this match. They could not get shit to go for each other. There was no chemistry. Carlos fucking hates Zell Quinn. Zell Quinn is an idiot. And, yeah, this match got a 55. Carlos Barrera just got pinned by Luis Montero Jr., and this will once again lead to mass confusion as Luis Montero Jr. has just pinned Carlos Barrera. Zell Quinn is clearly still thinking he gets an Extreme title shot. Carlos Barrera wants to get no one a Extreme title shot, and it takes Sean McFly, part owner of CZCW. He has to come out to lay down the law, and he's like, look, I've thought it over, and since Luis Montero Jr. has just pinned you, Carlos Barrera, he has earned an Extreme Championship rematch, and he will get that rematch at Vendetta. However, to prevent Zell Quinn from running into this match to make it just a complete wash for Luis Montero Jr., because it is very obvious he will not give this up, I will be giving Zell Quinn the third spot in this Extreme Championship match. I will be making a three-way. Now, look, on the surface, does that seem very fair? I don't think either you or Luis would agree with that. However, you cannot look me dead in my eyes and tell me that you do not both want to get your hands on Zell Quinn and beat the shit out of him. And I'm giving you that. And Carlos and Luis, they're kind of like, fuck, I kind of want to beat the shit out of him. So all three men agreeing to the terms of service. Zell Quinn has to agree to stop fucking up these matches if he gets put in this match. So yeah, three-way for the Extreme Championship at the pay-per-view. This has got to be the most convoluted storyline I've ever promoted on YouTube, but it is what it is. We're pushing for relevancy here. This is the cost of relevancy. Up next, we have Keira Lee in a match because she's great, so she gets a match. I had extra time when I was pre-booking, so Keira Lee and Cillian Catsby go 11 minutes and 53 seconds before Keira Lee hits the flying knee strike, gets the victory, and the match got a 55. This was not the setup match for the Valentine's Day gift. I just wanted to put Keira Lee in a match. So we then get a quick promo from Johnny Perez, who is at the hospital. He says good news is his arm is not broken, but it is badly damaged, and he cannot afford to make it to the pay-per-view. He will be forced to be in the hospital during CZCW's Vendetta. I guess rooting for the Beach Boys and Frankie Paris from a distance. Just that's all he can do right now. So before the Dark Watch match can get underway, we have a quick announcement by the Guru on commentary, who he announces that the match at the pay-per-view between Bullseye, Waylon Walls, and the Wildcats, that will be a number one contenders match. Whoever wins that match will fight for the tag team titles next. Will it be at Uprising? I don't know. Maybe. If I'll try to stretch out that feud for 4 weeks. I don't know if I can. So, just full transparency. It might be a number one contenders match for Uprising. I won't know by the time Vendetta airs. So, we'll find out. It's just next in line. They're next in line. 57 rated segment for that. We then get the 3v3 between the Dark Watch and the Beach Boys and Frankie Perez. And in a bit of a shocker here, the Dark Watch get the victory in 10 minutes and 41 seconds when Babao pins Chet Chavez with the Frightened Rana. Match got a 50. The tag champs were just pinned by these outsiders from IPW. And they let this known that they have just pinned the tag champs. And they will be getting a World Tag Team title match at the pay-per-view. And they intend to steal these Coastal Zone Tag Team Championships and bring them to and bring them back to IPW for good. So Chet Chavez and Simon Waves are not only going to be defending their titles, they're going to be defending the titles from Insane Pro Wrestling. So a 42 rated match to pre-book the tag team title match. I kind of wish I put the Guru's announcement after this. However, oh well. It's fine. There's no loss because this is happening on the same show as the tag title match. So, or the number one contenders match. So 42. Up next, we get the long-awaited Valentine's Day gift. So we cut backstage where Sky Hermosa, she has a camera with her, and like the first thing that we see is this insanely like rose red with pink text love letter, it seems, and she doesn't even open it. She doesn't even read it. It just has a room number and to Sky, and she just points it to the camera. She's like, fucking look at this shit, and she throws it, and she goes to whatever room number. I don't know how fucking the backstage areas work at wrestling shows. The only ones I've ever worked on, like, we were in a garage, so whatever. She goes to the room that's on the front of the card, and when she opens it, she sees like rose red tinted lights, a giant heart-shaped bed with red drapes, petals, rose petals all over, very, very obnoxious candles on the side, Heartbreaker in nothing but his underwear, and he's laying in the bed, and he's like, Sky, you wanted to bring a camera? Alright, and she's like, fucking no, that's not why I brought the camera. I brought the camera for possible evidence in a court case. Alright, look, I don't know why you're so dense in the head. Maybe I kicked you way too fucking hard that first time. Maybe Kira Lee kicked you way too fucking hard. So I will spell it out for you, Heartbreaker. I want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You're disgusting. You gross me out. You're not funny. You're very much not funny. You're not charming. You're kind of fat. You're old. Alright? Please leave me and my tag partner alone. And Heartbreaker's like, look, I don't want your tag partner. I just want you. If you're standing up for... That's not what I'm saying, Heartbreaker. I want nothing to do with you. And he's like pleading by now. He's on his hands and knees on this heart-shaped bed, and he's pleading. He's like, look, please. Sky, please give me a chance. And she's like, no. And he's like, Sky, I'm not going to stop until I win you over. And she's like, fucking please. And he's like, look, okay, how about this? Look, it's cliche, but we're wrestlers in the wrestling business. So how about this? I will fight you. It'll break my heart. I am the Heartbreaker, but my heart can still be broken. It will break my heart to fight you, but I will do it if it means you will love me. All I want, Sky Hermosa, I want you to violate my mouth. Sky throws up, but Heartbreaker's like, look, so let's have a match at Vendetta. Couples fight from time to time. This is one of our fights, alright? Let's hash it out in the ring. If I win, we have one romantic kiss and you fall in love with me. We'll have one hell of a romantic makeout session and you will fall in love with me. But if you win, I'll leave you alone. And Sky's like, if you don't leave me alone, I will get a restraining order and you will be fired from this company. And he's like, yes, fine. But you will make out. And she's, if that's what it takes, yes, I agree. Fine. So, yeah, we're having, one hell of a Lucha Deus Puestas match at the pay-per-view. Makeout sesh versus restraining order. Alright, main event time is the 4v4, and it couldn't go too long because, you know, Waylon Walls and Bullseye are not that over. But the 4v4 was still pretty fun. Match got a 56 because of this stupid fucking penalty that pisses me off beyond belief. It is a TV show. These matches do not need to go 20 fucking minutes. Please fix that. It's so annoying. Pay-per-views, I get it. I get it for pay-per-views. However, TV shows, please. Alright, but it still gets a 56, and in the end, Bullseye pins Tigre Salvaje Jr. with a pinpoint knee to get the victory for the team. The segment got a 56, and then afterwards, California Love Machine just takes the time to taunt Mask Cougar, essentially just standing over him and saying, look, Mask Cougar, you had a great run, buddy. But this company really no longer needs a relic like you. So yeah, that got a 50. We finished the show. I got a 53. The main event kind of, you know, didn't do as well as I'd hope. We lost $10,000, but again, we're going to make about a little under $15K in broadcast revenue. when it's all said and done. So we'll probably make all of this back by the time those 2 episodes air. So, yeah. Chat is calling me Vince McMahon. I did not know. That was Heartbreaker. That was Heartbreaker. Okay. Not me. I wasn't on that rose petal bed. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that episode of CZCW's Coast to Coast tapings. I'm gonna let this sim play through so that we can run down the pay-per-view. I can run down the pay-per-view card from here. Oh, and it's gone. Okay, let's run down the pay-per-view card. So yeah, opening the show, I did not pre-book every match I thought I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're short a couple matches. Oh, because I need to fucking bring back in the Dark Watch. Yeah, I didn't give them enough of dates. I miscounted. But yeah, so we're going to open the show with the tag team title match. The Night Terrors will take on the Beach Boys for the CZCW tag titles. Will they bring the tag titles back to IPW with them? Immediately after that, we have the number 1 contenders match between Gangster Nation and the Wildcats. Next is the triple threat match. For the Extreme Championship, Zell Quinn and Luis Montero Jr. will be fighting for Carlos Barrera's Extreme Championship. Following that, we have the HR, please call HR match between Sky Hermosa versus Heartbreaker. Next is California Love Machine versus Masked Cougar. This might actually get moved down lower in the card. This might become the semi-main because I was not impressed in the slightest by Deke and Darkhold's performances. So I might move this to the semi-main, but as of right now, the COTT World Championship match is penciled in for the semi-main event. Frankie Perez defends the COT Heavyweight title against Deke and Darkhold. And then, of course, our main event for the Coastal Zone Championship, Frankie Boy Fernandez defends against American Flash. This is going to be one of the better matches we can put on. Maybe even the best match we can put on at this moment in time. So I'm really looking forward to that main event. I hope you're all looking forward to Vendetta, the Vendetta show. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope to see you all for Vendetta.